Right, so this is going to be touchy, right? This is not DC related, as you can tell from the title. But I tuned into one. You go through YouTube and you see a video. It's got a catchy title for YouTube, so you watch it. Then all of a sudden, hundreds of those same subjects comes up on your YouTube, so you start watching it. And there was one, and I'll pass a link, and I'll put a couple of links up there to talk about it. Okay, and I think sometimes it has to be addressed. The ideology. We're living in a world, in America and Europe and Britain and stuff like that, and it's been happening for thousands of years where, we're integrating with all these different religions, right, and everything else, but ever since, terrorists started happening in the last decade and stuff like that, in September 11th and all that stuff, there seems to be this sort of racist thing and phobia and everything else against the Muslims. Now, when I went to high school, and I've talked this about before, one of my first crushes in high school was with this. Let's say she was Muslim, right? She was a coloured lassie, and I quite liked her, and we held hands, secretly held hands in school, and she had. Maybe this will give the religion away, right? She had a pattern in her hand, and maybe she, Indian. I don't know. I don't care, right? I don't care what religion she was, right? And so we had kept this, but we didn't know. We were young, we were young. We didn't know where we were going, and there's things I regret. And you could see her friends were unsure about us two getting together and everything else, and trying to pull her away from the white guy. And by the way, it happened on both sides. And then we got to a year where, like, the whole gang, it was, the Asian community against the white community, saying, why are you going out with this lassie? Stick to your own kind. Which goes against everything that I stood for. I love seeing mixed families, okay? I love seeing white and black and, Chinese, whatever. I just like mix because it gives me the hope for the future, because you are talking to her. But what gets in the way? Religion, right? It's one of the many reasons why I'm an atheist, okay? But there are some religions where the minority, right, has to try to enforce things. And I've seen YouTube just now in Australia and America and streets of London and probably here at some point, that there are these minority groups that go around and they force their religion on others, right? And they force it, and they get the press and everything else. And you see communities in where it's basically just that religion that live there, right? It's just that, and it's not. And I don't believe in that, right? I don't believe that a race of people should be confined to living in one area, because that grows resentment. I think that they should be spread out a bit, right? They should be spread everywhere. Your neighbour should be a different religion and everything else, right? But everyone must embrace their own thing, right? They must embrace their own way and not impede it on others. And here's another thing, like the Mormons, right? They come up to your door and they Bible thump the Bible and stuff like that, and they sit in the house and they can't talk about, Jesus Christ Superstar, for instance, or have a wee cup of tea, and they're sort of kind of brainwashed in a way for living that, and one person can't go without the other because in case that person falters, or it's like Scientology, the way Mormons are for me, right? I think any religion that somehow suppresses you in some form of way, right? And I'm not just talking about Mormons, no, Muslims as well have got these laws that suppress things that you can do and cannot do in life. But what happens now is you get stories about these minority groups that are patrolling the streets and trying to make people live their way, right? Now, I'd be against that like 1,000 odd years ago when Christianity were doing it, right? To all these other islands, right? And they were trying to put Christianity. I was against all that stuff as well. You know, every country, yeah, if you want to believe in some form of God, because let's face it, we all go to the same sort of church, right? Whether it be a church, a mosque, or whatever, right? You always go there and you always, read the book or listen to a guy who's trying to tell you how the book should be interpreted. And then those people with a lesser idea of their own self-worth, they go out and say, well, the only thing I've got to live for is religion, and it's my religion is better, so they go and, and then what you end up is you get people out in the streets standing on boxes, and they're either doing the Muslim thing or the Christian thing or the Hindu thing or whatever, right? They're preaching their own religion, and then you get clashes. That stuff, right? See, that's freedom of speech. I don't think there should be that much freedom of speech, especially when it comes to religion. I think the world would be better, right? If whatever religion you are, right, you keep it within your home. You keep it within your family, right? That is your own private thing. You do not force it onto others, right? There was Betrothed talking about alcohol and prostitution and everything else. They're individuals, right? If that's their way of life, right? You don't need to be a saviour. If they want to go down the street and drink alcohol and drink themselves into oblivion, it's maybe nice, or listen, it's not up to you to tell them. It's up to their families. It's up to their wives and their husbands to tell them maybe they have a problem, right? But the minute you start going in groups and start taking the law in your own hands and telling them to don't walk on this side of the street because you're beside a church or beside a mosque or whatever, right? That is totally wrong. And so, and we know it's the minority, but what I'm asking every community out there to do is take control of your own people. And I'm talking about white people. I'm talking about every religion that's out there. Coming from an atheist, right? I don't have a group of people, right? My group of people are atheists too, okay? That's my group of people. So what I was saying, and I honestly believe the world would be a lot better place without the ideology of somebody's idea of what God is and what he wants you to do, okay? Because I don't care what religion you are, right? It was the human beings that created the idea of gods in different parts of the world, right? You're not going to convince me any other way, but I'm not going to force my ideas onto you. But what I will do is say things like, whatever God you believe in, whatever thing, or if there are people like yourself that worship these things and you see somebody telling, trying to tell somebody how to live their life, jump in and tell them what an asshole they are, and that he's got no right to tell him how to live their lives. The major problem we have, right, and this is why the Brexit thing is happening over in the UK, right? Some people have got this wrong idea that that's a way of keep foreigners out and maintaining Britain, right? It would be the same in your country as well, right? And then you get that same argument about this is our country. Why would you want to come and live here when we don't follow your God? Why not go back home? Right? So the only answer to that is, yes, you can travel the world with your God, but never, ever enforce it onto anybody else, especially if you're going into a country that is not governed by your God laws, right? So when you go to, now if I was to go to a country, I'm not going to say whatever country, right? It can be whatever country, right? And they have a very deep religion there, and they have their ways. I'll have to somehow, especially if it's a holiday, I'll have to change my ways to do that, because that's them, right? That's their country. They'll thing with that. So whenever they come to the other country, they've got to change them. I'm not saying don't change their ways, but see when they're, if I was to go over there, if I'm in a room or if I've bought a house over in that country, my religion will be my own private thing, and I'll keep it to myself, and I will not tell anybody in that country what to do. And that lessens the religion, right? So, I mean, I grew up in a school, and I'll tell what happened in my school years later, right? Years later, 4 black people kidnapped a young white boy, and they killed him, right? They tortured him, and then they killed him, right? And then what happened after with the pupils in that school was all the white people then got threatened as though that minority, those 4 people, were somehow godlike people, right? Because they killed a white person, right? So what happened in the school is that every white person got threatened because, oh, you don't want to end up as that young boy. That was so wrong. What should have happened was every other person, black person, whatnot, in that school should have condemned and says, listen, we're with you, we'll walk with you, we'll walk arm in arms. Those guys, they ain't religious, man. They're nuts. But as far as I've been told, there was none of that. Whatever religion you are, right, if it affects a different religion, if you see something wrong with some of the people in your own religious community harming or saying something or trying to force something onto others, step up, rise up against it. And then that way we'll put an end to the minority racist people, and people like ourselves and your own community like Muslims and everything else will have a much better picture. People will start realising, you know, I have a Muslim friend. He knows I drink, he knows I do this, he knows that, he accepts me for that, and he doesn't say a dicky bird about it. Okay? We can be done. And I've seen things in Glasgow where you get the alcoholic with his Muslim friend. Oh yeah, man, he doesn't touch your drink, but I love him. That's the way we should be doing it. Okay? That's my thoughts. That's my thoughts for the future. Is embrace your own religion if you have it, but don't enforce it. That's DC Vigilante out. It's my truth.